Grandma, can you tell me what you remember about meeting Grandpa?
Well, Grandpa's family would go to Wurtsboro for the summer.
Uh-huh.
And of course, that's where I lived all year round. And he went to church where I went to church, St. Joseph's. And he was an altar boy. And my mother was so amazed at the way he served Mass. He was so precise, did it so beautifully. So she asked him to come to our home and teach my brothers how to serve Mass.
How old were you then?
I must have been about 16.
Wow.
So having the three brothers, Russell taught them how to serve Mass, which made my mother very happy. And then it was just, young kids get together, whatever. We'd go up to the pool that his mother had. And then in the course of time, the war came.
Uh-huh.
And he joined the Air Corps.
Uh-huh.
Became a mechanic. And he was sent different places. And at the time, he was engaged to another girl.
He was?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes. And he was stationed down in Samuel Johnson in North Carolina.
Uh-huh.
And he asked her to go down to see him with his mother and father, and she refused. So he broke the engagement.
Wow.
And then he was sent, different places. The last one that I remember that he was at was El Paso, Texas.
Uh-huh.
And from there he went overseas. And he was in a group called the Red Raiders.
What was that?
It was a group of fellas that were flying, and they called their group the Red Raiders.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
And he was stationed overseas the whole time, put in his time. He did 50 missions. It was a case of 50 missions or 300 hours.
Uh-huh.
Well, he put in 50 missions, and then he came home. And I got a telegram saying he was on his way home.
What year was that? Do you remember?
Oh, gee. That must have been about 46.
Uh-huh.
Around 46. So then when he came home, of course, it was such a happy time. He came to Wurtsboro. Of course, it was July 4th
Uh-huh.
that he got out of the service. And his family was all in Wurtsboro. And I remember watching him coming up the little side street by Mama's house. And he had a niece that was, she was a devil. And she said to me, as he stopped the car, she said, "Go down, go kiss him, go kiss him." I said, his mother should see him first,
Uh-huh.
kind of person I am. So he came to Mama's house, and of course everybody is so happy, so overjoyed that he was back safe, and he didn't have to stay in the service anymore.
Uh-huh.
He was discharged. So we dated that summer, and he wasn't well. He had malaria.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes. And he had at one time, they get terrific headaches with malaria.
Uh-huh.
And he went to the hospital in Middletown.
Uh-huh.
So we got over that, and then he stayed in Wurtsboro that summer. And then in the fall they went back, and then he went to college.
Yeah.
He wanted to be an accountant. I think he put a couple years in NYU.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And every Wednesday I got a phone call.
Mhm.
The phone was in my grandmother's part of the house. We didn't have a phone. And then on weekends we would alternate. I'd go down one weekend.
Mhm.
He'd come up the next weekend.
Were you married by this time?
No,
Okay.
no, no. In October, we became engaged,
Uh-huh.
and then in June the next year we were married.
How did he propose?
It was just seemed to be like a foregone conclusion.
Uh-huh.
You know, it was just going to be with letter writing. You know,
Uh-huh.
I have all his letters, and they're going to be buried with me.
Oh.
Bernadette wants to read them all, and I won't let her.
You don't want anyone to read them?
No, well, you know,
They're yours.
they're mine,
Mhm.
and there's nothing in it, in them that would shock anybody, but
Mhm.
they're mine,
Right.
and they will go with me when I'm buried.
And I've got the videotape to say that you want that.
That's for sure. Oh, she keeps bugging me. Oh, give us some. Give us some. So,
So you were married in June.
in June, and
Where was the wedding?
in St. Joseph's in Wurtsboro,
Okay.
we went to a place, it was called the Mitchell Inn in Middletown for the wedding breakfast.
Uh-huh.
And then we went to Brooklyn.
Did you have a wedding reception, or did they not have them like
Yes,
they... Yeah?
Yes. And it was a godly hot day.
Yeah?
And I took my veil off.
Uh-huh.
And I found out later on it was bad luck to take your veil off.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
But it was done, so be it, you know. No air conditioning in the car or anything, you know. And then we went to his home, his mother's home, on 60th Street. And all the girls in the wedding party took their gowns off. I took my wedding dress off, which was bad luck,
How long are you supposed to keep it on for?
until after the reception.
Oh, okay.
And then at 5 o'clock we went to this place, Mitchell House was it called, and that's where the reception was. No air conditioning, no fans. It was, people were so warm, so hot, you know, drinking and being happy, you know, you sweat and everything else. And we left there, I would say, about 8, 9 o'clock. And when we left the reception, it was raining.
Wow.
And that was a good sign.
Uh-huh.
If the sun shines and it rains on a bride's wedding day, that's good luck.
That's nice.
So we went to his mother's house. We changed our clothes. And at that time, you had a going away outfit.
Right.
So I had a two-piece dress, had a little hat or whatever, and Dad had a suit. And we stayed overnight at the Plymouth Hotel in New York. And we stayed in New York one more day. And then we left for Maine. He wanted to go to Maine. Of all places, Maine.
You didn't want to go there?
Well, you know, it was a case of what's in Maine that was you want to see so badly. But he wanted to go to Maine. So we went to Maine, and it was so cold.
Yeah?
The first and only time that I got breakfast in bed. We had a little cabin, it was cute. And he made me breakfast, and I had it in bed.
That was the last time he made you breakfast?
Yes.
In how many years? 28 years?
Yeah, 28 years. Yeah. But it was so cold I didn't want to get out of bed.
Uh-huh.
So then we stayed in Maine a few days. There were different things to see. It's a very pretty country. Very nice.
Uh-huh.
And we rode around different places. And one day he says, come on, let's go home.
Uh-huh.
So we went to Wurtsboro. Now,
Uh-huh.
mind you, this is summertime, so his family were already in Wurtsboro.
Uh-huh.
And we went right down to Wurtsboro. And of course, everybody happy to see us, you know. And I felt a little shy, you know, and so forth. Anyway, it was a camp across the street, a bungalow, not really a camp, a bungalow, a little house.
Uh-huh.
And that's where we stayed.
Uh-huh.
And we stayed there, I think we stayed a couple of weeks.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, we went to Brooklyn. And mind you, this is wartime.
Okay.
Find an apartment was almost impossibility.
Uh-huh.
So we stayed in Mama's house, Russell's mother's house,
Uh-huh.
in an apartment upstairs. We had 3 rooms, bedroom, a tiny, tiny living room,
Uh-huh.
and the kitchen. And that's where we stayed.
Uh-huh.
You know, we couldn't get phones at that time either. And of course, Mom had a phone. So we stayed there until they came back in the fall.
Uh-huh.
Then we found an apartment and we moved to the apartment. And it was over a shoe store.
Yeah.
When I looked out, there were only 2 windows. The kitchen window, and then in the living room was a window. I could not see the front street,
Uh-huh.
and that was the apartment. But you know, you're happy.
Yeah.
Could be a tent, and you'd be content.
Uh-huh.
And we stayed there for a few months, and then we had very dear friends, Peggy and Peter.
Uh-huh.
Now, Dad knew them before I did. And they were such good people. They were so good to us. So they got married,
Uh-huh.
and they needed a place to go to. So we let them use our apartment. And in the meantime, we found another apartment.
That was nice of you.
Well, her mother was with them, and this gave them some privacy. And then where did we go? Then we went to this apartment. It was on 52nd Street,
Uh-huh.
and it was like railroad rooms, a kitchen, a dining room, like a little middle room, and a bedroom, big bedroom,
Uh-huh.
and off to the side was another bedroom. And as the kids came along, we used bunk beds. So we put bunk beds in this side room. And when the kids got older, they got to me. I
Uh-huh.
had no peace, no place to go.
Uh-huh.
So I'd go and lay on the top bunk bed, and I could watch them, whatever they were doing, and they couldn't get at me. And we lived there for a couple of years, and in the time, we were looking for a house.
How many, who was born then? Russell and my dad?
Russell, Richard, Paul, Marie, Joseph were born from that apartment.
You have 5 kids in that one apartment?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. We were on the 3rd floor. For your father, there was a fire escape,
Uh-huh.
and I used to take a wicker laundry basket, line it with blankets, put your father in it, and sit the basket out on the fire escape so he'd get some fresh air. And in the course of time, Russell was looking for a house, and he found one on 71st Street.
Still in Brooklyn.
Still in Brooklyn. And we looked at other houses, but nothing appealed to us except this one. So we bought it, and Russell had a man that was very good in picking colors, comparing, colors and what would go with what. So he took over the painting and the papering of the house. And we had a big living room, and part of the living room to the side was a little dining area. We had a bedroom off that area, and then there was the kitchen, and in the back were 2 bedrooms and a bath.
One bathroom.
One bathroom. And these friends of ours, who we let use the apartment way back when, lived upstairs. And it was a great relationship. We had such good times. We shared so much. We shared Christmases. We shared Thanksgiving and so forth. And she was very good to me. She only had one child. And she'd come down about 4 o'clock with a shaker of Manhattan. And I said, "Oh, Peggy, I don't dare drink them. I'll fall asleep. Come on." So we'd sit there and have a drink. And then go, get supper ready and stuff like that.
You probably needed those drinks.
Yeah. But they were very good times. I have wonderful memories of living in that house. It was a very nice house, nice area. And then, of course, in the summertime, we still came up to Wurtsboro. Had to go to Wurtsboro because Mama was there. Russell was a great lover of his mother.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yes. He thought the world of his mother.
And did you like your mother-in-law?
Yes, I did. He would do anything for her. So we'd go to Wurtsboro, and we stayed in this bungalow that we had used when we came home from our honeymoon. And Russell put up a fence to keep the kids in the yard, so to speak. It was a little side road, and Mama's house was on the other side. So we stayed there in the summer, and then when fall came, we'd go back to Brooklyn. And I don't know how many years that was, but then it got to a point that the boys were older, and I didn't feel safe leaving them here in Modena. So I told Russell, I said, "We're not going over anymore. I want to stay here, keep an eye on things." And so then it was planned that one of the older kids who had a driver's license would go to Wurtsboro, stay with Mama for the summer, take her shopping, do whatever she wanted. And then in the fall, they don't have to come home to go to school.
You're talking about when you lived here in this house?
Right.
Okay.
This is where, when we came to Wurtsboro, Russell was looking for a place for us to live. Now, mind you, we needed a big house.
Right.
So he was looking around, getting leads and so forth. So the postmistress here said she was leaving this house, building her own, and this was a big house. But it wasn't as we see it today. This was all added. The back part, it was all added. after we bought the house.
The back porch or the living room that's downstairs?
The playroom,
Uh-huh.
the breezeway, the kitchen was there, but not in the condition it is now.
Uh-huh. What about the garage?
The garage was there,
Uh-huh.
and we bought it, and we lived here, but in the meantime, we had to have this section of the house added on,
Uh-huh.
because it just wasn't enough room.
Right.
And there were only 3 bedrooms upstairs.
Wow.
And now there are 5.
Mm-hmm.
And we came from Brooklyn to Worcester for the summer, and then finally moved here and stayed here.
Do you remember what year it was when you bought this house?
No, I don't remember. Barbara was the baby.
In the 50s, right? Had to be in the 50s.
Yes. Barbara was the baby.
Uh-huh.
And we had a fence off the backyard
Uh-huh.
because way back used to be a railroad track.
I remember that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And naturally you didn't want them to wander on the track
Right.
and to keep them off the front street.
Did you not have a bathroom in the house?
Oh yeah.
You did?
There was one bath upstairs.
Okay. Wasn't that an outhouse out here?
This is, we call it a honey house.
Why?
I don't know why the name honey house came, but that was what it was called.
Uh-huh.
And Russell had it built so that the kids, when they were out playing, didn't have to come in the house to go to the bathroom. And on this side here was a faucet that they could get a drink of water. So they didn't have to come in the house for anything.
Uh-huh.
And they had to stay here, and they couldn't wander away because of the fence.
Right. Did you and Grandpa, when you got together, talk about how many kids you wanted to have?
When he was in the service, he prayed to the Blessed Mother, and he said, I'll accept as many children that are sent to us if I get home safe. I said, yeah, and you had to pick on me. So it was a case of whatever came, came.
Uh-huh.
So it was interesting. It was interesting. But thank God they were all healthy.
Yeah.
And no problems or anything. But it was interesting and it was hectic.
Yeah.
It was hectic.
So
the grandfather,
uh-huh.
Ferdinand, the way he started out with the business, he sold peanut bags and he saved twine.
Uh-huh.
And that's how he started F.D. Croce and Company. And it grew, it grew, it grew. And then they were on Washington Avenue.
Uh-huh.
Had the fancy basket store further down on Washington Avenue. And as Russell's brothers got older, they all went into the business.
Uh-huh.
All who was salesman, who was accounting, who was this, who was that, but they all went into the business.
How many brothers were there? Were there 4?
1, 2, 3, 4.
And 5 including Grandpa.
5 with him, and 2 sisters.
Yeah.
And then, as time went on, the Verrazano Bridge was put through,
Uh-huh.
and people had to move out of the area. We moved out. And then they wanted to put FC into where the tower was, the World Trade.
Yeah.
That's where they were.
Really?
And they were going to build the World Trade Center,
Uh-huh.
so they had to get out.
Really?
Yes,
Wow.
they were there, so they got out of there, had to get out.
And Grandpa was working there then with his
Right.
brother?
Right.
Uh-huh.
And they moved to Ridgefield Park in New Jersey.
Okay.
And since Dad was the youngest, you know, you have to do what the older boys say. Well, his older brother said they should have a branch up here.
Okay.
So they had a place here in Modena built.
Is that the place right down the road here?
Right,
I remember that.
yeah. And it had a railroad siding,
Uh-huh.
which meant that the railroad cars would come in if they had ordered some material or whatever, wood. It would come in on this car, and they'd unload it.
Uh-huh.
And they'd have it in the warehouse. And there they made apple boxes with the slats on them.
Uh-huh.
And then there were salesmen went out on the road to sell these apple boxes, other fruit and vegetable containers. I can remember when we went shopping to Lloyd's in Newburgh.
Uh-huh.
Dad would go along and he'd look at, like in the fruit and vegetables, he'd turn the carton upside down and it would say F.D. Croce Company.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
That's neat.
yes. And then they went out of business.
They did.
They went out of, there were brothers that died,
Right.
and Dad wasn't well, he couldn't carry on the business. So then his sister Virginia came,
Uh-huh.
and she took over. But she couldn't run it. She wasn't up to that sort of thing.
Did the one in New Jersey go out of business as well as the one up here? Both of them did?
Yes, yes. So that's when Dad started the business in Newport, Viking,
On Route 32?
on Route 32.
Uh-huh.
They started business in a cow barn,
Oh, wow.
and it was a cow barn.
Who did he do that with? Did he do it by himself?
Another Jewish man, Louis Steinberg,
Uh-huh.
and they finagled, they worked it out and what have you. And attached to this building was a silo.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yep.
And Marie worked there in the office, and she was terrified because snakes would come out from the silo. And she was terrified.
Yeah.
She was terrified. And then they grew. In a year. Dad started the business, and then they went, I can't think if they moved into the place where your father is now, but anyway, a year after the business was started, he died.
A year later.
A year later,
Wow.
yeah. And then Richard, your father, took over, and he did a wonderful job. He did a wonderful job. Paul worked there. He was a salesman. There were some that worked in the plant. Mari worked in the office. There's a lady that works in Viking now that was with them when it first started.
What's her name? Begins with a D, right?
I can't think of it now.
Oh, I can't think of it either. She works in the plant.
Right.
Yep. She lives across the street.
No.
No?
No.
Oh.
I think she's up around Rosendale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's ever since. She's been there ever since.
Was Grandpa sick before he died?
Yes.
He was? He had problems?
Yeah, he was in and out of the hospital. In and out of the hospital.
Uh-huh.
It was mostly his heart.
Uh-huh.
Mostly his heart. But that was a sickness that went through the whole family.
Yeah.
He had a brother that would drive the truck when they were down in New York, and he pulled up in front of his mother's house, died in the truck.
Wow.
Died in the truck.
And it was 29 years ago today, right?
Right. Yeah. But it was hectic up there when we came.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't drive
Wow.
to get the kids into school, you know, and everything. It worked out. But then to go shopping, I'd go to Mass, 8 o'clock Mass. Grandpa would go to 10:15. Then we'd go shopping.
Wow. For
Over
food.
Yeah, food shopping over to Maybrook. That was the only place at that time. There was the Blue Law.
Uh-huh.
That was the only place you could go to get any food.
Wow.
Only place. So we'd pack all the kids in the station wagon and go over there and do food shopping.
Did they fit in the car?
Yeah, they had a Russell made them stay in the car. Oh. And so here I would go flying through the store, trying to, you know, make sure I would get everything. Because I felt sorry for him sitting in the car with the kids.
Wow.
I couldn't drive, so that's the way it had to be.
Yeah.
And, it was no fun. It was no fun. And there would be times that we'd be ready to sit down and eat our evening meal. The phone would ring, somebody would want something. He had to stop, go take care of them. Or a truck would come in, truck would have to be unloaded, he'd have to go up and do it.
Yeah.
So it was hectic.
Yeah.
It was hectic. But we made it. We did it.
Yeah.
We did it. Yeah.
Do you remember how much you bought this house for?
The main part, the older part, was 10,000,
That's it?
and the new part that we put on was 10,000.
Wow. Which was a lot of money back then, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the carpenter hadn't finished the new section in time for us to move over from the camp.
Uh-huh.
So my father used to drive them back and forth. He'd bring the kids over in the morning to meet the bus, and then he'd come over in the afternoon to pick them up from the bus.
Your father did that?
Yes,
Wow.
yes. It just wasn't livable for us.
Yeah. What was your father's name?
Charles.
And your mom's?
Mary Alice.
Mary Alice?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't remember them.
No. I was
What?
the oldest of 6.
Uh-huh.
3 boys, 3 girls. There are 4 of us left.
And did you live in Wurtsboro, you said?
Oh, yeah.
When you were little, that's where you grew up?
Yeah. Well, I was born in Brooklyn.
Right.
And then my father wanted to move to the country.
Uh-huh.
So we moved to Wurtsboro.
What did your dad do?
He, in the city, he was an accountant.
Yeah?
But up here, you know, there wasn't that demand. So he did plumbing work.
Uh-huh.
And then as time passed, he became postmaster. That was my first job
Oh, yeah?
in the post office.
How old were you then?
18,
Wow.
out of high school.
Uh-huh.
And it was bigger than Modena.
Yeah?
More active than Modena. But I can remember the day I graduated, 41.
Uh-huh.
I started to cry. I was at high school. I said, what am I going to do with my life?
Yeah.
At that time, you didn't go on to college.
Yeah?
As long as you made your high school, your regents, you'd have it made.
Yeah.
You didn't make plans for college.
Yeah.
So I go, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Here in Modena, you know?
Which high school did you go to?
Monticello.
Okay. So then you got, when you were 18, you started working at the post office.
Yeah.
How old were you when you married Grandpa?
I was 22 in June as I was 23 in July.
Mm-hmm.
He was 25.
Did you work after that, after you worked at the post office?
No,
No.
no. Because then we went to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
We lived in Brooklyn. We came home every weekend. I was so homesick.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Oh.
so homesick. You know, growing up with 5 kids and then and nobody was in Brooklyn. Everybody was in the country.
Yeah.
But, I was homesick. And I would call Dad. We were living at Grandma's house, as I said.
Yeah.
And I would call Dad and I'd say, I'm on my way. And I would go to the subway station
Yeah.
and take the train into New York. Now, mind you, I'm used to the country. I'm not used to the cities.
Right.
And I was so afraid of getting lost. And then when I got into New York, was on Canal Street.
Uh-huh.
I went in a candy store. I called him. I said, I'm here. And then he would come and pick me up.
Wow.
And then we'd go to Woodsboro.
Wow.
But I was so scared. You know, not used to this kind of transportation,
Yeah.
kind of old. But I made it. I never got lost. The subway was, you know, and it's nothing like it is today.
Yeah.
The city was nothing like it is today. It was more pleasant. People were more pleasant.
Yeah.
You didn't have to worry, you know, that somebody was going to stab you in the back.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about your parents.
My father was born in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, he was an accountant. My mother was born up in Woodburn.
Where's that? Woodburn.
It's up in Sullivan County.
Okay.
And her mother had a boarding house.
Uh-huh.
And in my mother's family, there were 3 girls and 1 boy. But they all worked the farm.
Uh-huh.
And sheets by, scrub sheets by hand. And it was that family, my grandmother, my grandfather, and my great-grandmother.
Yeah.
And they called them boarders, come up from the city
Yeah?
and stay there for the summer.
Uh-huh.
And they would play tricks on the boarders.
Like what?
Of course, there was no running water.
Right.
So for each boarder, they had a big glass basin and a big pitcher with fresh water in it.
Uh-huh.
And that's how they washed in the morning when they got up.
Uh-huh.
So my mother was a rip. She was a devil.
Yeah?
She would take and put frogs and worms in a pitcher of water. And then for the sheets, she would short sheet. You know
Uh-huh.
what short sheet is?
You make the bed weird or something?
Yeah, you only put the sheet halfway
Yeah.
and then turn it up. Or they'd put spaghetti in the cooked spaghetti in the sheet so it would feel like worms. And she had a hay. She'd go go out in the fields and, with her father and throw up the hay on the wagon.
Uh-huh.
And she didn't go on to college. When she went to a grammar school, she couldn't speak English.
Really?
Because her grandmother, my great-grandmother, spoke German.
Wow.
So my mother had to learn English.
Wow.
And then I guess the farm got to be too much. They got older and got too much of it, so they sold it. And my grandmother bought the house that I grew up in Murfreesboro.
Uh-huh.
And we were 4 generations in that house at one time.
Is it still there today?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Of course, it's run down. People haven't taken care of it, you know.
What was the address?
Just Murfreesboro, New York. No, you know, there weren't that many people that you didn't know where people lived.
Right, right.
You know? But I was born in Brooklyn, and 2 of my brothers.
Uh-huh.
3 of us were born in Brooklyn before my mom and dad decided to go to the country, to Wurtsboro.
Wow.
But I can still remember my great-grandmother.
Yeah?
She was a sweet old lady. Sweet old lady.
What was her name?
Anna.
Anna? Now I know how you named all your kids.
She was a sweet lady. She never looked in a mirror.
No?
No.
Why not?
That was being vain.
Wow.
And she had long hair, and you know, with a little bun on the top.
Yeah.
And a long skirt with a long apron on top, long sleeves.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was very sweet.
And your mother was a devil.
Yeah, she was the devil.
And what about your dad?
My father was very reserved.
What's his middle name?
Ernest.
Oh, okay. Charles Ernest. Okay.
He was very reserved, very serious.
Uh-huh.
I take after my father, and he always worried. I worry about everything.
Yeah. When did they die?
Let's see. Peter is what? 31. My father died the day Peter was born.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And my mother died about 5 years after.
Wow.
My father was in his 70s. My mother was in her 80s.
Wow, that was a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My father was stubborn, very, very strict.
Yeah.
Very strict. When Russell came home from the service, and he asked me to go out. He came on a leave before he was sent overseas.
Yeah.
He asked me to go out. I had to ask my father.
Did he say yes?
Yes.
Did you like Russell? Did you
Yes,
like Grandpa?
I did,
Yeah.
I did. But here I was 19 years old, and I'm asking my father
Yeah.
if I could go out on a date.
Wow.
Yes. To go to my prom at high school.
Yeah.
A friend of my mother's who could drive took me up to the prom. I met the boy that I had asked.
You asked the boy to go to your prom?
Yeah.
Is that how you did it back then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after the prom was another couple that we were friendly with. And we were going to go to the diner.
Uh-huh.
So my mother came to pick me up, and I asked her, could I, go to the diner? No, I couldn't go. was hurt. I
Yeah.
was so hurt. I always had the feeling that my father didn't trust me.
Yeah?
You know, yeah.
Do you trust your brothers and sisters or just not you?
Just me.
Yeah?
Yeah. My sister Regina, the one that died a few years ago,
Uh-huh.
she did what she wanted.
Yeah?
Yeah, she would. I wouldn't speak up.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't speak up, but she would. She learned how to drive. She had her own car.
Yeah.
She worked where she wanted to.
Is she older or younger than you?
Younger.
Yeah?
I'm the oldest.
Oh, are you?
Mm-hmm.
Is she the second youngest?
Let me think. Yeah.
Second oldest, I mean?
She's in the middle, the third.
Uh-huh.
You know Uncle Joseph.
Uh-huh, yeah.
That's my brother.
Right.
My baby brother.
He's the youngest?
No, then there's the sister, Joan.
Oh, okay. She's the youngest?
Joan is.
Uh-huh.
The boys who took after my mother.
Yeah.
They were devils. My father had a hunting dog, and he kept it in, they call it a coop,
Uh-huh.
a little house. And they started it on fire.
The boys did?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then one time we had a garage and back from the house, and they got like a plank and put it at the peak of the garage, and one on each end, and they had a seesaw on the garage. At one time, and it was summertime, they had corn silk,
Uh-huh.
and they were smoking it.
Oh, jeez.
They were devils. They were devils.
It's somebody from Most Precious Blood, but I don't know who it is.
Somebody around.
Lisa Vanek?
Do the runway. Do the runway.
That might be.
Do the walk.
All around, Blaine.
Are they grandpas?
I dare you to go to church with the lawn.
This is mine. It's your photo? This is mine.
I was going to say, that's yours,
This is
Patsy.
Paulina Carmody.
I thought it was Lori Brown.
Is that Paul?
He was
No, I think that's Dad.
Hey, I'm taping here.
Is that Dad? She's taping Mama. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Here's a Danny Jackson baseball card.
Who the hell was Danny
I don't
Jackson?
know, he's from the Reds.
Let me see, wait, let me see.
This was mine.
Who's that?
It's Dad. Mickey. From San Francisco, California, April 18, 1945. Dear Mother and Dad, completed my missions. Will write tomorrow as I'm awfully tired. I'll be seeing you soon. Love to you all, your son Russell. Extra big hug and kisses for you both.
Okay. Look in the back of that picture.
George High Boy.
Are that in yours?
It must have been. Because he said he completed his mission.
Is there anything behind the other one?
No.
Oh, Jenny, where'd she go?
What?
Mom, enough staring at the wall.
John's first day
Oh
of
my God.
kindergarten.
Oh, Jack.
Our Lady of Perpetual Help.
I'm gonna hang these up in my locker.
1936 in Brooklyn.
Put them in the car.
Was it Mom?
Hey, Steven, now we should...
Film them like that anymore, Down in the garage, there's a broom, or somewhere there's a broom. That bedroom needs to be swept out. Okay? Let's go.
When we first came,
Would you mind going home and getting your Makita?
we were at the
You did what? What's up, bub? You had your bedroom in the front, so that's where the action was.
Partly. And then when this hill fell, the remainder.
Then you had to put an air conditioner in because it's so hot up here. You're smoking! Oh, baby! Hey, food and entertainment, guys. What do you say?
I wish I could take this with me.
Jen took over.
Jen is your partner in food and entertainment.
Okay, what else we gotta be doing here?
See if there's anything under the cushions.
Yes, Michael.
Grandma, you want something to drink?
In this home, and of all the babies that were conceived, I don't know who they were. When we came here, Barbara was the baby, and it was conceived after her, but then we had that big front room, and then this room, this section was added on. So Teresa, Anna Teresa were in that other room. Michael, Bernadette, John, and Peter. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I don't know where I got this nightstick.
What do you think? Should we get an F on this one?
After Grandpa died, I hung it on the bedpost of our bed
Yeah?
in case anybody came, you know, and I wanted to bunk them in the head. I could use it. But it's against the law.
It's against the law to what?
To have a nightstick.
It is?
Yes.
I didn't know
Because
that.
I have a brother-in-law who's, he knows it all. And he says, you know, that's out of the, you commit breaking the law. What do you mean? I said, that's a nightstick and you're not allowed to have a nightstick. I said, well, I'll keep in mind.
I'm making a video history of the house and of Grandma and her stories, like her life. Lord, I did nothing.
$60. It's gonna be like 40.
Did you cry?
Yeah, I'd crawl out and I'd sit on the sill, pull the window down and wash it.
How'd you get back in?
Grandma, whose room was this?
Who was it?
This was the toy
Who was it?
This is the toy store. She was in this room. Oh, you heard from me for at least 2 days.
Really?
And then,
Four. And Maureen.
and Marie,
All three of them were in here?
four.
Yeah, Barbara. Actually, five of
Good thing
us.
you're not a math teacher, Jen.
Lord, you be quiet.
The window and out the way.
Mark's not saying anything, he's just gonna...
Uh-oh. See, this was used to lock him in.
Mom, I'm gonna leave the screen there just to get some fresh
So,
air.
Teresa, what's your best memory of this room growing up?
Hanging out, smoking cigarettes out this window.
Mom, me and Mark are
Nice
gonna go
example, just saying.
Until Grandma and Grandpa would go outside, go out the front door and just hang out there.
Jen.
Yeah.
Jen.
So, whose room was this?
There's an old dresser up here. Is somebody taking it? Who's taking that dresser? Did you know who was upstairs, Tess?
I don't know, I'm sorry. I
Why
don't
don't we
know.
just bring it down and maybe...
Yeah, sure.
Get a hand?
Mike, this was the boys' room, we had two beds. Two bunk beds this way, two bunk beds this way, two bunk beds this way, and then there was a room there, or a space there for a dresser. And the boys,
Space over here for the dresser?
yes. And there was always hell to pay when they went to bed.
Why? Would they make too much noise?
Oh, they were fooling around and everything else. And I used to lay on the steps with
Yeah.
a stick and apple slack. So when they cut up, I say, stop it, shut up, go to sleep. I come in with a stick and they'd laugh at me.
Do you remember which boys were in here?
Russell, Richard, Paul, Joseph, Gerard.
Wow.
Russell, Richard, Joseph, Gerard. Maybe 32.
Yeah.
And if there were drawers underneath one set of bunk beds where they put their clothes.
Did they go up into the attic and fool around up there?
Of course.
What are we in here?
Bedroom.
You and Grandpa when you first moved in?
Right, when we first came here. Yeah.
And then who was in here after that? Do you remember?
Then we got twin beds
Uh-huh.
for the older kids because the mattresses on bunk beds are not that good.
Right.
And they needed solid mattresses, so we bought twin beds and put them in here.
Uh-huh.
At that time, the road was going through, it was widened, and we got some money from it, I forget how much, because they took part of our property.
Uh-huh.
So the money we got from that, we bought the twin beds.
Oh, neat.
I wanted to buy a water softener, because we have hard water.
Yeah.
But, you know, you weigh the pros and cons, and we figured it best that they have better mattresses.
Yeah.
And that was it.
This one here.
Watch out, Mom.
Okay, what about this room?
This was the girls' room,
Uh-huh.
twin beds,
Yep.
and I think they came out this way.
And who was in here? Which girl?
Marie,
My mom. My mom.
And Bernadette?
Anna, Teresa, Bernadette, and that was it.
Did they switch rooms a lot, the kids?
No, they couldn't because it was nothing, you know, one had to be a boys' room,
Right.
one had to be a girls' room,
Right.
so there was really no switching.
But did the girls go back and forth between this room and that room? Like, and maybe Anna and Barbara would be in here and then...
Right, you know, I think, older Teresa went in this room.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Back a bit, because this was the existing bathroom.
That bathroom has always been the same in here?
No,
No?
Gerard fixed it up, changed it a lot, the tile, painting, the new tub he put in his stand.
It's always been this size though, right?
Yes, always this side. Russell wanted to make stalls,
Oh, yeah?
so they, you know, could take, if someone was going to the bathroom, another one could come in. I said, no way. No way, I'm not gonna have it. Not gonna have it. No way.
So then the 3 bedrooms were added on in the addition, the 3 bedrooms down here.
Yeah, it started, well, this was,
Somewhere past the bathroom, right?
had to come past here.
Yeah, past the bathroom.
Right where that crack is, Jennifer.
Right there, you
See
say?
that crack right there?
Yeah,
That's where it is.
that's where it is.
Mom,
These are books.
So your mom used to sew on that machine?
She made everything. Made our snowsuits,
Wow.
all our clothes she made on that.
Yeah? Okay, go.
Okay, I was on the front porch with my boyfriend, Don Smith. And we won't say what was happening, but Peter came out and caught us.
hello.
I am going to throw up!
I remember the next day at the breakfast table.
Yeah.
Hey, Donnie, how you doing, buddy? What's going on?
A little embarrassing.
your children watch this video?
Yeah, well.
I'll be standing right there.
One of my fondest memories in this house is my father giving me my blue suede clothes.
Oh, my God.
Why? Why?
Why? Because your grandmother holds that up to my face to this day, that I sweet-talked him into buying me those blue suede clothes, and I did not.
You deserve them fair and square.
I did. I did. Although Grandma will say that I was his pet, and I really wasn't. But he brought me those blue suede clothes. And she always tells me about it. I told her I was going to put them in the casket with her.
Do you still have them?
I sure do.
Oh, wow.
All right, Emily.
Okay,
Say when I'm on.
you're on.
My favorite memory in this house is Christmas morning.
Like every Christmas morning. Or a specific Christmas morning.
Every Christmas morning.
I remember running
Christmas
down
in
the
general.
steps.
And that memory, and also when Russell was getting his head banged in over in the corner there.
By whom?
By my father. And I was walking in on the outside and the shit was falling off the wall on the outside. That's a good memory. And the one time when I was upstairs in the summer, in the bedroom taking a nap, and Teresa walked out naked and was drying herself out in the hallway and gave me a show. Those are my favorite memories.
Hey, Mike, what about the one Tess was just talking about when she was on the front?
No, I'm out. I'm done, Jenny, thank you.
But a memory is when I was like 10 years old, and Grandma would always want me to sit on her lap. When I was still 10 years old, she'd always want me to sit on her lap.
What a touch.
Who? Yeah, wow.
The baby.
She asked me about Grandma.
I remember.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I remember.
Come on.
I got one.
You got one?
Dinner time, sitting right there. Hold on. Dinner for Uncle Freddie tonight. Dinner time, I sat right there, and right across from me was Russell, and we never talked for 18 years. No? I remember that. Yeah, this is when you were into other things. But dinner time. Dinner time, and the other one, he was probably stoned. Is the old man on the window when I was plowing snow. That's the best. The old man banging on the window when I was plowing snow.
Why was he banging on the window?
Because you were doing something wrong. Whatever you did it wrong. Whatever you did. You're out there on the tractor with the hat, with the muffs, snow's coming down, and he's banging on the window. And then we smile and nod and do what we want anyway.
Oh, where'd you find it?
Well, that's my memory. Those are two.
I have one.
Go ahead.
When we went to the orchard and we
I was
used the
wondering
apple
where it was.
during the,
We had just got the tub.
John, shut. Doing what now?
The orchard?
in the orchards when the apples were bad and everything, they couldn't be able to eat them. We'd pick them up and we'd chuck them at each other and we'd have apple fights.
How about, who was the Henrietta kid? Billy Henrietta. When he used to come over. Hey, where's the Ricans? Remember? Yeah. Where's Chaguito? And, what do we used to call the girls? Chihuahuas.
What's that? What do you got there, Grandma? Is that you?
That tub was just put in.
Is that a hot tub?
You're getting sentimental about a tub?
That tub there, well.
Oh, the tub in the bathroom down here.
And Maury put in,
Who was conceived in that one?
Maury put in bath soap. And of course the motors were running. It whipped up the soap and it made it like whipped cream. And there and she took a picture of me in it.
Very nice. I have the best memory.
I remember the garage, and I remember the cement came. Bill in the barn. And Gerard was in the shower, and there was no water, and the cement was hardening, and we needed water to get it soft again, and he went nuts. Get out of the shower, we got water, the cement was fucking thick. I'm tough on you guys.
When did you guys build the barn?
69 was this, like a couple years?
Yeah, I think that's the day.
Yo, 69.
That's the story about when Mom went to Europe and Bernadette cooked dinner.
By me.
I don't remember that
Pork
one.
chops, you came home from work, it was Bernadette's turn to cook dinner. and she burnt the pork chops and you got up and turned the lights out because you said it was the only way we could eat that.
I remember, I remember.
My mom's cooking them.
I remember when Barbara had, what was it, Skip Kaliski or one of her many boyfriends come over, and she made them pigs in a blanket and burned them. The whole top of them was all black.
Pigs in the blanket for dinner?
Just we had the tile floor here, and they would go out, we put the table in the center, put powder down with our socks, and we'd play hockey or roller.
I got nothing to do.
You play hockey on the floor in here?
We used to play handball in the basement.
We used to go around in circles. Mike, how about in the garage? In the
Well,
park?
I'm gonna get to that. When I was supposed to be delivering papers, and it was winter time, and my father used to get all ticked off because I used to beat the shit out of my bicycle. Because we used to drive into the barn, we'd take oil and throw it on the ground, and we'd go flying in there, line up all the garbage cans. You had to go in there and lock up your brakes and get it to go sideways and crash into the garbage can. We all did. We were like, then we used to drive around like bumper cars. We used to drive into each other's spokes to destroy the tires on them.
How about the choppers?
So, can I finish? So, we gotta go deliver the newspapers. The evening news was in the afternoon, obviously. So I had to go deliver it, and I come walking in, and I stood right over there, and Dad was sitting there, and Mom was getting ready for dinner. He had a plate in front of him, and I said, "Hey, Dad, you think somebody could drive me around?" "Why? What's the matter?" "Well, my bicycle's not working." "Why isn't your bicycle working?" "Well, I don't know, something broke." "Yeah, you've been beating the shit out of it again, haven't you?" And he picked up the plate and started to flung it at me. I ran out the door. And it was snowing, and he had to come pick me up.
What about the time that you ran into the truck?
Oh,
I always thought that was right.
that is a classic.
The what?
Who is that?
What truck? Why, that's a good one.
Uncle Mike, Michael.
Uncle Mike!
Mike, what happened?
Tell it!
We had, it was summertime. And we were, my father sent me down to the custard stand to get soda and ice cream and I think root beer floats and nonsense. I think that's what he used to have, root beer float. So anyway, I go down there and I had a basket on the front of my bicycle. And we're coming back and I was by Kalamuski's and there was a tractor trailer parked on the side of the road. And I'm pedaling along like this, looking over there, and the ice cream come all over me, and I had an egg out like this. Oh. I brought it home, I got here. I got to the door, I opened up, I'm crying. It looks like blood now because it's dry. And Mom says, "What happened?" "I hit by a truck." She should have pickled. Mom, he put me in the rocker over there, and she's asking me a million questions, and Dad says, "Would you leave the kid alone already?"
Where's my ice cream? Where's my ice cream? Where's my float?
That's my story of the truck.
Gosh, I remember doing papers. We'd do papers early in the morning, right? We'd get up early,
Never get you out
in
of
the
bed.
snow, and we'd deliver the papers, and then we'd come back here, and it'd still be like 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30, and Mike would be over there cooking up bacon and eggs and potatoes. We used to go crazy.
4 strips of bacon,
oh, easily.
two eggs,
All the toast and
potatoes,
everything.
toast,
We go crazy.
and John be sitting over across you with the goddamn cereal.
Yeah. I remember getting up early on Saturdays, and we had Jacko and I would get up early, and that would be a treat day. We have sugar pops or something for cereal, and I'd sit right across from him. He's just to break his chops. He's terrible. He'd sit here watching cartoons all morning.
Well, I remember one time I was doing religious things here. Remember, just as a I came in out of blue. I was minding my own business. I'm sitting over there. And you're going to interact with my mom about something, and you go, "You're arguing about something wrong." You say, "Russell, give me some of that LSD."
They're all inside.
He's just joking.
What's
LSD?
Oh, God.
License to steal
with diamonds.
diamonds.
Who's in the streets?
Mikey, what's your favorite memory in Grandma's house?
I don't have any favorite memories.
No?
They're all
What
favorite, right,
about
Mike?
Christmas when you always used to play with your cousins?
What about you, Rich? You got any
You didn't
favorite
like
memories
seeing
of
us?
Grandma's house?
I didn't remember that.
You don't remember that?
Like 2 Christmases ago where we all came and I got pictures.
What What about today? Did you have fun today?
Yes.
Yeah, you did a lot of work today, right?
Jack one in the back, this was at some graduation.
Oh, I
Another good memory is going in the bathroom and Dad would never lock the door.
Me
Banging
needs to
that door to
speak.
Harry Larry. What do you want?
Why don't you lock the goddamn door?
Dad, you sitting here eating breakfast, you come down and climb into the...
And it was Easter, we had jelly beans. And I don't know
Oh,
if you
yeah,
were
yeah.
there. We
Cass
had
was in on
a
that.
jelly bean fight and we were... You little bastards, cut it out!
Here with jelly beans. Bam, 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 bam. Mom wasn't home. And the old man's in there laying pipe. So we're out here. Bam, bam, bam. We're going all over the place. What's going on out there? Nothing. When I come out, that place better be cleaned up, man. They were bouncing all. See, how about when you, John, and I slept in that front bedroom? Yeah. And I used to go to bed at night. I used to bring up ice, and your beds were over in the corner, and the room would be dark, and we lay down. Good night, guys. Good night, guys. Be quiet 5-10 minutes. I grab that ice. Bang it up against the corner and it fall down on it.
We had this old record player. We'd play, go to John. Okay, hey, Uncle Frank, could you put on the record?
Frank Serrano with that shaking hand going on.
Oh, Jesus.
We were having a snowstorm.
And we stayed over.
And we were all in the living room with our Sherry, and we heard the door open. And in walks Richard, Evelyn, Heather, and Jen.
And Richie was at school.
Richie was born.
He wasn't born yet. And here we are. I don't know who else was married.
Everybody was here.
Everybody was here. I was the only one.
You were here?
Yeah, I was the only one.
And
He was over at Danny's over in West Valley.
we were sharing gifts and all this and that and all the hoopla.
Nice.
And then who's gonna sleep where and all.
When she stole my bedroom, I never forget.
Didn't you call in bed with Evelyn? Well, wasn't it you that went in and you were
And
Evelyn?
the kids were all upset. You know, things were out of kilter for them. And then who played cards? Charlie.
Who's Charlie? Charlie, Joey, and myself, right over here all night.
Here's the picnic.
No, we had a round table, I think, Mom.
No, we had the big table. And they sat up all night
Playing cards. We had no place to sleep.
You didn't, right? And the next morning, Richard cooked bacon and eggs.
All right, hold on for a minute.
And then everybody was just so tired.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody went home.
Yeah, I know. We didn't do. It was really a bad Christmas day, actually, because we were all so beat.
And the funny part about that story is Joey was coming here and he got stuck in his 280Z or 260Z at the time out in New Paltz. We went out and got him, and then he had that big old green Catalina. Remember that thing that Judy used to drive? That goddamn thing?
Yeah.
And they came in with that, and it was snowing that night, and about every 20 minutes, we put the light on and look outside, and Charlie Malcolm get up and say, oh, I think we got another foot. I think we got another foot. I think we got a total of 8 inches or something, you know? But Malcolm, every time he got up, I'm telling you, we got another foot.
Sentimental baseball. We get back to sentimental baseball. Oh, man.
Springtime, you guys would go out and play football or whatever. Invariably, every time, Paul got hurt.
It's a bunch.
You can count on it. You're right. You can count on it. He had more scars in his head than Paulie never played a friendly game of anything. It always turned into a grudge match. He always got, he'd get hurt or something. Somebody hit him the wrong way. He'd get pissed and then it was over.
I used to play basketball with Joe all the time.
Brother Joe?
And we'd always get in a fight. Always are.
You and Joe.
Yeah. So one time we went out to New Paltz, to what's now the middle school. We played on the course there. So we played a game and we get in an argument, right? I said, screw you, I'm leaving. And I got in the quiet. Go get us. I'm like,
You two can't play anymore.
and then he broke my nose.
I remember,
He hit me with the baseball.
who did?
So I got in a fight playing baseball.
And you did that when you broke, oh no,
Yeah,
you
I
broke
threw a
your finger
hardball at him. He
sliding
threw it at me
into-
and I threw it back at him and I punched him.
Okay, that's all right.
And I broke my thumb and I hit him again and really,
Yeah.
and I had this
Yeah.
big
Wire.
gas
I
thing,
remember that.
hanger in it,
I remember that.
1968.
I remember where's Michael the genius over there with his bike. Saying, oh yeah, we'll put chains on it. He's over there painstakingly taking wires, electrical wire, wrapping it around his tires. Like chains. So we'll get good traction in the snow.
Peter, John, and I are up in the front bedroom one night. It's around bedtime, whatever. I had a test tube, like this long, and I had firecrackers. So I had wired them all together, and I probably had about 8 or 10 of them in there. And a thing,
A cigar thing.
like a cigar tube or whatever. So screwing around, I said, it was either you or John. Okay, I said, go ahead, light it. And I go like this, jackass, bang, hits the thing, now it's gone. Holy shit. And I'm going to the window and I'm trying to get it out. And there was like 8 or 10 fire, and I can't go out, so I
Took the bed.
throw it on the bed. Hey, diver. I pick up the pillow, there's a hole in the blanket, there's a hole in the sheet. I'm crying, we're gonna go, Mom, we're gonna go.
Just before these places, come on, it's like a stick of dynamite. Something, oh shit, the whole room's gonna blow.
The asshole. I can't get it out, I'm trying to get it through the screen, it won't go.
I remember one time sneaking out the window the first snow of the season. We snuck out and we're in our pajamas. We're playing out in the snow. And we crawl back, we come walking in, and he goes, what are you doing out there? Blah, 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 blah.
We used to go when the chicken coop was still
Right,
here.
see,
We used to
that's-
dive off the chicken coop into snowdrifts, or almost as high as a chicken coop.
Gerard, remember that one night you and I were sleeping in the front bedroom, Maxie come in with Laura? He was all tuned up, and he's carving her up pretty good verbally. And you go ahead, you
On the floor by me.
Really?
Yes.
Just like a faithful dog.
We'll have to
Like old blue.
remind him of that.
Yeah. And one thing, he gave me a very pretty bracelet. Gold. It was beautiful. And I don't know why he was so angry with me.
So you wouldn't take it?
No, not that. Past that. He went up and got rid of my jewelry box.
Whoa, Pop, what's the
And he
weasel?
comes here on the counter with a hammer and went many penny pieces.
Oh.
And I just sat here because when he's in that mood,
Who the hell did he get his temper from?
You should erase that, Jen. That was really good.
Who did he get his temper from?
I don't know.
Uncle Joe.
Was that the time
Joe.
Tony Zuno was around here delivering milk?
Yeah.
Joe Close.
And, I really was so upset. And I don't know what he was angry at me for. But it was a million pieces.
Joe was just angry, period, Mom.
Yes, but then I remember when Dad died, and I was sitting in this chair, and the boys came in first to tell us, and you were with some of the boys, and he came in that door, and I'm sitting here crying, and he came over and he held me. Joey, of all people, Joey.
He had his moment. he had his moments, but
Ah, use your shirt.
it was so few and far between that
What's so funny?
he could be such a happy.
What's so funny?
Why are we talking about him?
Are we talking the same brother, Joe?
I should edit this whole part out.
I remember when he left home, and he went down by that, I guess it's old 32. And he was living in a little bit of a trailer. I swear it was no wider than this table. My dad and I went down just to see where he was and so forth. And we went in the trailer. And, you know, how you had to sit on the john and everything was just so compact.
What was this, down Stanley Orchard?
No, down 32. Down 32. Off in there. And I thought, oh my God. He left our home to live in this?
You know what? It was peace and quiet.
I know.
Yeah,
Peace and quiet.
right.
That's what it was. Peace and quiet.
If you notice, all of you kids talk so loud.
What?
That's why most of the kids hate him.
Because everybody would be talking at once and one wanted to get his word in.
We all eat fast?
No, how about going down back? Those were good times.
Oh, after weddings
Oh,
and
good
feasts and
Tom,
stuff?
Going down back. Those were down back.
Barbara's yellow, white.
Going down back there
You
and
see,
hanging
like
out
four
down
of them in a
back.
car.
How about taking the frost and taking it by the legs there and
It was
leaving
a
them
farm,
there?
but it became like gravel banks. So the guy was mining it for sand and gravel. So you used to take cars, it was like a road, and then you could just go off on the side. And we just go over these hills. We were like we didn't kill ourselves.
Wait, didn't you used to take us down there when we were kids?
Probably.
I don't, like, it was like motor, there were bumps and hills and stuff.
Teresa had a,
Michael has one.
was it Teresa?
She broke her
Who had that
Mikey
car
has one. Mikey has one.
and it had a tail on it and she fell, I don't know who was driving it.
Michael bought that, station wagon.
From Wager?
From Wager, somebody had,
Sonny.
somebody had broken down on the way, he stored it for a month, so Michael paid like $70 for it. And then, they drove it around here until he was gonna get his license, and it was at a station wagon, so that the back was down. This was riding out of it, he went over and boom, she fell off and hurt her head or something. Hit her
Where?
back.
Down the back?
Oh, yeah. Oh, right,
What do you got, kid?
what's your memory, Mike?
I remember when I was 5, I was at my friend's house, and I jumped off the couch, and I was pretending that I was, then I was pretending that I was Spider-Man, then I landed into a fan of pillows. And then I come up, and I'm like, and then there's blood in my lip, and then it's going down my mouth and stuff. And then I went to the hospital. I was like, no, Mom, I don't want to get stitches. And then I had to drink water instead of stitches, and I had to drink salt water, and I have another old memory. No.
You're sick now,
Yeah, Rachel, I have another old memory. Rachel was pretending that she was Sleeping Beauty. She's like 2 or 4.
She was right here with 5.
She's like, oh yeah. And then at the end, no. Then in the middle, I'm like me. I'm fat and I'm like this. I'm like talking about Rachel because she was in the middle of the kitchen. Oh yeah, like that. I'm like, stop that. I got one.
That was a good story.
I remember I was like, I was like 6 or 7, and Aunt Barbara still lived in that house, and it was pouring rain out, and that hill right there was covered. It was like a little pool, and all the cousins were there, and we were playing soccer. We came in,
I remember that.
and Grandma was looking at us like, what are you doing? And we come in, we go in the shower, we're all taking showers. We all had to go home and change. But I remember we were all dunking each other's heads in the rain. I mean, I was like 6 inches tall, so it was up to my knees. And we were just running around, and we were, oh man,
I remember your mom doing a body slide.
Oh yeah! That hill thing, and she slid right into it.
Like when I used to, when it was on TV, it was like a hill, and you could lay on this side of the hill, and they couldn't see on the highway. And we used to wait for the cars to come and get tomatoes. We just lob them over top. We made snag for that.
We did Wasn't Brother Joe, didn't he throw it like a cop car or something? And then
Yeah, I
there was a
remember.
constable came running, and then everybody, you guys all running, he takes a basket, just puts it over his head, standing there. Joey.
One time, remember when Handy used to be up here in the store?
Oh, yeah.
He was a miserable.
Who's got all the razors?
And we went down to the farm across the street. We got cow manure. was Halloween, and we went up there and we took bags and we smeared it. They had like big plate glass windows. We smeared over all the windows. So next day we're all going to church and we're in the car with Ma. And we're on the back. Oh, he's going out of business. We're on the back. We come home, who's in there? Sonny Wager, he was the cop then.
Oh, yeah, I read.
They knew we did it. We denied it, of course. But, and they were kind of laughing about it. They knew we did it. But the thing was, she had to clean it up. His wife. He made his wife clean the whole thing up.
Do you remember the Halloween?
That's what I'm talking about, Halloween.
No, this is another one.
Michael, how'd you get this?
When it was after Papa died, and he gave Richard his car. It was parked in the driveway. That night, Dad and I went to a Republican dinner down at Villanueva. And while we were gone, Bill Collins's kids and the BBs
Oh, Trish, beside the house.
got into the chicken house across the street, got a lot of eggs, and they came up here and pelted the car.
Somebody look at the house?
It was terrible. It was terrible. And then the screen, they threw them up on the screen. Well, you can imagine what it was, egg up on the screen. And then they wrote some obscene things about me
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
on the road. And they used to come here, and there was a pool table downstairs, and the guys that played pool, we made hot chocolate or what. I was so mad. I called Sonny Wager, he was the constable. Dad wouldn't do a darn thing, and I was so mad at him because he wouldn't say anything.
Well, I thought you went down and got them all, and they
I remember them having on the side of the house, and they were cleaning the side of the house.
I remember them coming, you stood up.
Yeah, but I think Sonny got them, the BBs,
Yeah, they cleaned the side
especially
of the house.
because of what they were, and brought them here and they had to clean the house.
I remember when we were sitting out there.
And you wouldn't let them use that water.
No, I won't let them use the water. I did not give them rags, nothing. And every so often, their fathers would come in and say, Mrs. Croce, you want to check? And I'd go out. There were eggshells all over. They had to pick up every eggshell. They had to scrub the screens. They had to scrub the road where they had written something about me. I didn't let them get away with a thing. And then when they were finished, the fathers brought them in. Mrs. Croce, you want to check it and see? So then I looked it over and I said, okay. But I wouldn't even give them a drop of water. You know, I was so mad because we had been good to the kids.
How many animals you took care of, Bobby?
We let them come in our house, you know. Maybe they'd come from when we were having a meal. And to turn around and do that to us, oh, I was mad.
Did you let them to your house again?